Well, good morning, everyone. My name is James Williams, and I'm the County Executive for the County of Santa Clara, and we are delighted to be here. I'm joined by several members of the Board of Supervisors, and we're really here to express tremendous gratitude to Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren for her continued incredibly effective advocacy on behalf of the county and our community to bring much needed federal funding here to Santa Clara County. You're going to hear about two wonderful projects that we have here at the county that are receiving funding from the federal government through appropriations that the Congresswoman was able to bring here to our community. And we rely so much on federal money. In addition to these types of projects, our health system in particular, but the county organization gets a huge percentage of its funding from the federal government. And so the strong advocacy from our entire congressional delegation is pivotal. And I want to especially thank Congresswoman Lofgren for her tireless advocacy to bring down, for example, FEMA reimbursement for the county. Huge deal. And those of you who are following our hospital acquisition know how important that funding is right now. Her advocacy on so many other projects and initiatives for the county, and she understands what we do as a county government because, of course, she's a former county supervisor. And so we so deeply value her depth of understanding, her connection with, her advocacy for this county organization, the critical safety net services that we provide. We are grateful for her representation and her service to our county organization and to our community. And so with that, I'm pleased to introduce Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren.
Thank you. Thank you so much, County Executive Williams. And I appreciate your hosting us here today. I was noting to Cindy, this patio looks a whole lot better than it did when I was here. It was just dirt. So the county's always improving. And I like to think that our processes in the House have improved some. I remember there was a time when earmarks was a dirty word, and rightfully so. That process was abused. So when the Democrats took the majority in the House, we decided to reformat and reform that whole process because we noticed that there were unmet community needs when members of Congress couldn't actually identify the needs in their districts. And so there's a process now that's totally transparent. Only public entities and sometimes nonprofits are eligible to receive assistance. Obviously, members of Congress cannot have any financial interest or benefit from it. And it's a very public process. Each member of Congress has an opportunity to identify up to 15 projects that need attention, and that's for the entire district, coming from downtown San Jose to past King City now with redistricting. And I'm proud to say that one of the two items that I was able to identify were here today to celebrate. The first has to do, well, they both have to do with homelessness. And as someone who actually helped found and run a nonprofit housing development corporation before I ever ran for public office, I do understand how difficult it is to provide housing for people who don't have a lot of money. I'm currently a co-sponsor of the Community Housing Act that would provide permanent rental assistance for housing. But in the meantime, we need to assist projects such as these two that meet special needs. First, I want to talk about is the Farm Worker Housing Rehabilitation and Electrification Pilot Project. Now, local leaders are the ones who tell me about what needs to get done. And this is something that was identified here locally. Many farm worker dwellings, especially in South Santa Clara County, are not built to proper code or are unpermitted, and that's not safe. It's a problem for our communities. It's a problem for the families and those farm workers who work so hard to make sure that we have food on our tables. Farm workers are essential, and we need to treat them as such, and we need to value them. And that's why these funds to upgrade the non-compliant farm worker housing to meet code is part of honoring the farm workers of our community. I hope this pilot program sets the stage for for many more projects of its kind in the future. And I'm very proud to present the first check today that I helped secure funding for $1,666,000 for Santa Clara County. And I would like Supervisor Arenas, whose district this is in, along with the county executive, I think we have some other board members too, to accept this check.
I just want to introduce Supervisor Sylvia Arenas, under whose leadership the county has really championed farm worker housing work. And this project is, of course, an important one. A lot of our code enforcement activity actually involves substandard and dangerous conditions for our farm workers. And so this funding will make a real difference in that effort. But just want to acknowledge Supervisor Arenas' tremendous leadership in launching a number of initiatives, sponsoring legislation, and launching a lot of efforts to really help provide farm worker housing here in Santa Clara County. Valley of Heart's Delight, a huge agricultural community, and sometimes we forget about that, but that is what we are here in Santa Clara County. Supervisor Arenas.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. There's nothing better than to receive a big check, especially from Congresswoman Lofgren this early in the morning to get you in the best mood ever. I'm Sylvia Arenas. I'm the County Board of Supervisors. I sit on the County Board of Supervisors. Behind me, we have a couple of my colleagues, Supervisor Cindy Chavez, Supervisor Otto Lee, who have together voted on a work plan for farm worker housing. But before I tell you a little bit about that work plan and the just tremendous work that the board has allowed us to do, I wanted to first just tell you a little bit about why the interest in farm workers. I come from, my family was, there were farm workers. My dad was a bracero, and so he, under that program, was able to provide for his family in a way that farm workers can't really do in this current day. And there's a lot of people that when I talk about farm workers, you know, they look at me a little confused because it's a very little known fact that in our county, we still have agricultural land. I remember my father would point out a lot of orchards around the Evergreen area, and he would say, or the Berryessa area, and he would say, this is where we would pick cherries, or this is where we would pick apricots. And of course, our communities have looked and transformed over the years. But what hasn't changed is the number of farm workers that we have. We have 8,000 farm workers who on an annual basis, we all know this, they put food on our table, vegetables and fruits and flowers, but they also create $340 million annually. And yet, what is happening to them is on top of the housing crisis that we're all facing, they face a housing crisis with dilapidated and unsure structures. There's also the supply is not enough for the need that we have here. There's about 1,400 seasonal and 700 year-round workers in this county at any point in terms of missing what we're missing. That's what we're missing. And so when we asked Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, because of her long history, not only as a housing advocate, but really as a farm worker, agricultural worker advocate, she asked us how can she help out? And I'm just immensely grateful that this $1.6 million is going to go towards rehabilitating a lot of the infrastructures that are in our county currently, that might be in our code enforcement pipeline, and now have a chance to really correct the problems that they're facing because of lack of resources. The work plan that we have here, the agriculture work plan, was approved last year by my colleagues, but there's leadership that I wanted to acknowledge, and that's our County Executive James Williams, Sylvia Gallegos, and David Campos, along with the other administration, of course, Greta. But I'm going to take it back to Congresswoman Lofgren, because really to receive federal funding and to be one of 15 projects really fills my heart and tells us how important Congresswoman Lofgren understands this problem to be. And so because of that, I'm just absolutely grateful, Congresswoman. I know that you have been over the years just a true advocate, a voice for farm workers when nobody else was speaking up. And so for that, I'm absolutely grateful. And thank you so much for this opportunity to receive this giant check that represents, really it's funding, but what it represents is a roof over farm workers and their families, and those roofs won't be leaky anymore. So that's all in gratitude of Congresswoman Lofgren. I'm going to say this just really quickly in Spanish, if you will bear with me. Mi nombre es Silvia Arenas y sirvo en el condado de Santa Clara como supervisora y represento las áreas de Gilroy, San Martín y Morgan Hill. Hoy estamos agradeciendo al liderazgo de la congresista Zoe Lofgren por su liderazgo y en representar y su voz en representar a nuestros trabajadores agricultores. Tenemos una historial en este condado de servirle a la comunidad con comida, con vegetales, con fruta, con flores. Nosotros servimos a la comunidad. Yo soy hija de un bracero y mis padres estuvieron en los filos y yo entiendo las dificultades que se presentan cuando un hogar no tiene una vivienda que se respeta y que es segura, ¿verdad? Y nosotros queremos resolver ese problema y darle una oportunidad a las personas que tienen viviendas para los trabajadores agricultores para poder recibir una porción del 1.6 millones de dólares que recibimos hoy de parte de la congresista Zoe Lofgren para poder reparar algunos de los daños que tienen las viviendas para nuestros trabajadores. Esto va a presentar una oportunidad no nomás para ellos que puedan recibir una vivienda que es digna para ellos, pero realmente una oportunidad para que tengan un techo que no pase agua durante el invierno. Y le tengo que agradecer a esos trabajadores agricultores porque ellos traen a nuestro área 340 millones dólares representando en esfuerzo de comida en términos de vegetales y frutas. Su esfuerzo es grande, su esfuerzo es el más difícil de algunos de los trabajos que yo conozco y de repente nosotros se nos olvida que tenemos trabajadores agricultores en nuestro condado y que ellos necesitan igual de ayuda como los demás de nosotros y la persona que no se ha olvidado es nuestra congresista Zoe Lofgren y para ella le quiero agradecer esta oportunidad de poder tener una vivienda digna para nuestros trabajadores agricultores. Muchísimas gracias a ella.
Well, thank you so very much, Supervisor Arenas Silvia. For our second presentation, we want to talk about something that really is unacceptable in America. You know, we do a count of homeless people every year, and we identified in this county over 10,000 homeless individuals. Of those, in the 2023 point-in-time count, 508 of those unhoused individuals were veterans. Now, that is down, so we're moving in the right direction. It's a 27% drop, but it's unacceptable. No one who served in our military, who stepped forward to serve and protect our country, should be homeless. They deserve our gratitude and our support. So the second check today is going to go towards a project for emergency and transitional housing for homeless vets. These federal funds will be used to support time-sensitive repairs on buildings that are being acquired by the county to serve homeless individuals and families. And I'm told the repairs will include the installation of new HVAC systems, updates to the kitchen, plumbing issues, basically to make these places habitable. Now, we were able to secure this funding, and I say we because this was a project that I asked for and also Congressman Ro Khanna asked for. So for the two of us, this is a point of pride that we are able to present this check. I would like to invite Yvonne Inciarte, who works for Congressman Khanna, who couldn't be here today, to join me in presenting this check. And I would like, we have three wonderful supervisors here today, but I would like Otto Lee, who served in our military, and I remember so well when he was called up and sent to Iraq, he was on the city council. You know, we have a law that if a military person is called to duty, you can't take their job away when they come back, but there was no provision on a council. And so what that council did was do a temporary appointment so that when Otto Lee came back from war, he can continue his public service on the city council. It made me so proud of the people of this community as well as Otto. So Otto, would you come forward along with Ro's staff and the other two supervisors?
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It is truly a beautiful day right here in Santa Clara County, especially for our veterans and our farm workers. First of all, I absolutely want to thank from the bottom of my heart Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren and also Congressman Ro Khanna, who couldn't be here today, but one of the staff is here, I believe, representing him. And everybody who has supported the community project funding to make today possible. And I will, of course, want to thank our county staff, led by our county exec, James Williams, for continuing the leadership and legacy of our county, caring for our veterans. It is truly an honor to accept this check with you today. And of course, with my colleague, Supervisor Rennes, congratulations on securing the funding for our farm workers who is harvesting, working so hard for us every day to feed us and our children. This big check, or these two big checks, are recognition of the services that our veterans and our farm workers provided to our county and to our nation. On the issue of veterans, we have all seen veterans' homelessness is absolutely heartbreaking, especially even right here in Santa Clara County, when we are one of the most well-resourced, wealthiest places in the world. And when our veterans are unhoused, that is absolutely unacceptable. I would like to take a moment to speak directly to all the veterans and military families right here in Santa Clara County. And that's actually more than 60,000 residents, 3% of our 2 million residents right here in the county. We are here for you. No matter when or where you've served, no matter what's going on with your life, you have fought for our country, you have defended our freedom, you are our heroes, and for that, no matter what's happening, we will make sure to help and support you to get through what you're going through and with the resources that you have earned and deserve. This $1 million will be a very big boost to a homeless veterans facility right here in East San Jose, known by the address 10 Kirk Avenue. Last fall, we celebrated the county's final acquisition of this facility to be a site for a key step in making sure that every veteran has housing. For many of our veterans and service members, enlistment can be saying goodbye to your home. Veterans step up to sacrifice their life, putting service before self, foregoing a path that most of your peers would follow. Now I'll be fortunate to have a home and family to return to after my deployment to Iraq. But most veterans find success after service, and we have veterans serving and working in our sector every day in our community. However, many veterans also don't have a place to go to, or for struggling for various reasons to develop the stability. And this check and this funding is going to make a big difference on this unhoused community. We still have over 20 suicides a day in our nation by our veterans and our service members, and that's absolutely unacceptable. And that's why we hope to expand the services of 10 Crook Avenue's potential as a beacon for the safety and hope for all our veterans to recuperate and to get the R&R that they so desperately need. Since its acquisition, the county has committed significant resources to repair and improve the property. And I'm just going to go through a few lists that you could think of, like something that we'll do from Home Depot of my own house. Repair the fire sprinkler, install the electrical HVAC system, re-roofed the buildings, installed code-compliant heat pump water heaters, mold remediation, removed 9 vehicles, pumped standing water from the basement, removed dumpsters of hazmat, fire loads, and trash, vegetation, brush management, fire protection, and so many things. The current priority is to make this space and finish these repairs to make sure that at least 50 individuals can safely and comfortably reside at the site as a temporary housing program participants. This facility is just one action that we're doing to support our veterans. We are absolutely doing other things like increasing our staff at our County Veteran Service Office, VSO, which will soon offer a mobile dental service for our veterans. And we also have a new program in partnership with the Silicon Valley Military Officers Association and the Yellow Cap that will provide free taxi rides around our community for all our veterans. And before we finish up, I also want to invite our veterans to our annual stand down at the county fairgrounds for 3 days from Wednesday, October 2nd through Friday, October the 4th. A huge thank you, muchas gracias, come on, 谢谢, arigato, 감사합니다, to Congresswoman Lofgren for securing the $1 million to rehabilitate this place at 10 Kirk, and also for our housing for farm workers. Those who serve our nation and those who grow our food deserve a place to call home safely. And I just want to have one last word that's not on my talking points. I'm going off script now. For a word about our most beloved Congresswoman right here. She has served 32 years, 16 terms in the United States Congress since 1992. And before that, what was she doing? She was right here as a supervisor as our Santa Clara County. And we know that her heart is still with us right here. And this is always your home, so please come back and visit us often. And we love to see your face. And again, thank you so much for everything you do for us right here and for our country.
Thank you, Otto.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Otto, for those very kind words. You know, these funds join over $93 million in other housing funds I've been able to secure for the 18th Congressional District. But let me just say, we don't do checks for everything, but our delegation from this county, we have a representative from Ro Khanna's district, but also Anna Eshu, Jimmy Panetta. We are a team, and we are out bringing resources back to this county so that the people who need our helping hand can get it, so that our hospital system is vibrant, so that veterans can live with the dignity and respect that they are owed. So thank you for being here today, and let's get back to work. Yeah.